Alright, this video is going to be talking about my personal experience up to this point with cannabis as a recreational substance, or as a substance in general, and my thoughts, my opinions, and kind of my interpretation of my future usage. So previously, I have used cannabis kind of frequently throughout my life for basically like 4 years. Started pretty young, like 14, but there reached a point in my life where I became a very, very chronic, cannabis user. I became your stereotypical stoner. I smoked on average of anywhere from once to like 5 times a day, like anywhere from, I know it's not a lot when you start comparing it, and it doesn't even matter, but I'm just telling you so that you have a gauge of my usage. I was smoking probably anywhere from like an eighth every 2 days, sorts of shit, and that's a lot of cannabis. That's a lot going on, not gonna lie, and that's a lot of money, it's a lot of energy, and that's a lot of substance, and it's probably not very healthy, in regards to, cannabis is a very powerful medicine, but it's probably not very good to smoke it all the time. But, and it was very, I don't regret doing it, and I still partake, don't get me wrong, but I have a new respect for it that I had not previously obtained. And my problem with cannabis is kind of the way that it's used in an environment, that it's kind of, for a lot of people and a lot of my friends, it seems like it's a recreational dependency, that they need cannabis in order to relate and feel connected with others, and they fail to find, or it happened to me too for a long time, where I would fail to find, enjoyment in the moment because I wasn't under the influence of cannabis, and that's a problem. Like, I don't like that. I don't want something to become, very needed. And another big thing with cannabis is the tolerance levels. Is as you ingest more, you become more and more internally tolerant to, the alkaloids that are present, which leads to more usage and more substance and more money and more energy and just more, and I live somewhere where it's illegal, so more threat, so to say. And it's a kind of a weird spiral at the same time, because I think the substance is absolutely holy, and it has its very medicinal and very recreational use, and is very well respected substance. But I think that myself and others fall into patterns where it's too, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like a cell phone almost, where it's too normal and it's too easy, and it's like instant satisfaction, instead of like seeking something in life to make you happy, like seeking a interest, a hobby, a goal, or something. You seek a substance, and I feel like that's kind of detrimental to the overall progression of myself, because instead of seeking something to help me, or seeking something that makes me feel good, like poetry, making videos, or studying, doing the things that I like to do, I would seek cannabis to kind of make me feel that same sort of like uplifting, euphoric state. And it's not always uplifting, because lately, especially, I've drastically reduced my cannabis usage, because I felt very cloudy, so to say, and kind of like my short-term memory was not there, and like I just felt like I was in the clouds all the time, and I was missing out on a lot of this kind of like natural progression of priority and flow, and like, true self. And because I was stoned as a baloney all the time, or whatever. It's kind of ridiculous. My name is Blaze. I'm not gonna, I mean, come on. It's just a little bit, it's there. But in my chronic cannabis usage, I felt like as I was lacking focus, and I was lacking something to focus on, never to say, listen, I felt like I was not meeting any goals, but also I feel like as if it's detrimental to some of my relationships, because I feel like they require the substance to be present, and if my connection with something requires something else, and it's more of a connection to that else and to that substance than necessarily the connection to that person or to that subject. And I don't really like that. I like cannabis, I do, but I like cannabis kind of as a tool or a platform for, some sort of subjective experience. So like a way to, like, every once in a while to like have that state of like awareness, so that you can perpetuate something that you want to feel like artsy, or maybe more introspective, or whatever you want to, whatever cannabis does for you. If it makes you like more comfortable or more hungry or whatever, it's all kind of up to you of how you would use it. But for my personal experience, I feel like I would use it in a way that is kind of a crutch, and I don't want to do that. It's not who I am. And I felt like as if I was disrespecting the substance as well, because I remember, and I've had similar experiences very recently, where cannabis was like an extremely potent, powerful substance, and it would take me completely out of my state of normalcy, and it would be like I was, I was high as hell. I'm not gonna lie. And that is a lot more, that is kind of where I want to keep the substance, where it has its potency and its relevance, and kind of, especially because if I ever needed to use this substance like medicinally, I wouldn't want to already have this recreational tolerance built up, in my state, where like it's barely doing anything to me, and it kind of becomes normal to be stoned all the time, yada yada yada. I just think that a lot of people, especially young people, start to use cannabis and see it only as a positive thing, but they don't actually see how it actually is a gateway to a lot of other substances, because it becomes something that you are tolerant to a lot of times, and you start seeking other things because cannabis just isn't ringing the same bells as it used to. And I want to get away from that sort of like reaching for something feeling. I just don't want to like reach for something and feel like I need to have it. I want to reach for substance and be curious about it, and like have an intention, instead of just like grabbing it subconsciously and just using it as like something that is normal. And I don't know. Either way, in the future, I still plan to use the substance, and I will, and I have, and I will take breaks in between my substance use. But at no point at any time in this entire video or in my entire life have I ever really been like, man, fuck weed, fuck cannabis, blah, blah, blah. It's not like that for me. Cannabis is just like anything else, deserves its place and respect, and is on it's pretty relevant in the hierarchy of substances that could be used by a human. And I think that, as a human, the substance itself and cannabis itself deserves, and the plant itself deserves utmost respect and just true divine application, and not just kind of subconscious, like noise to add to, the feeling. So either way, I guess that's my little ramble about weed, cannabis. And for all my subscribers that don't really, like, you could probably read my name and see my face and kind of start putting some judgment of cannabis use, but now it's out there. I don't really care anymore. I never really cared, and I'd rather you have an authentic, genuine, not assumption, but opinion on me and my use of substance and what I like proclaim as progressive and detrimental or yada yada yada, then just kind of assume this and that about me. So y'all be good, do what you do. I love you, YouTube. You're a good platform, and yeah. If you smoke weed, just, you know, realize when it's more of a need than a want. So y'all be good.